The Buddha and Socrates, parallel lives of ancient wisdom seekers. Welcome, fellow explorers of ideas. Today, we bridge continents and centuries to compare two monumental figures in human thought. Prepare for a fascinating parallel journey. Imagine a remarkable era around the 5th century BCE, often called the Axial Age. Across the globe, transformative thinkers emerged, questioning old ways and seeking deeper truths. In the bustling city-state of Athens, Socrates was challenging conventional wisdom through relentless questioning. Thousands of miles away, in ancient India, Siddhartha Gautama was awakening to become the Buddha. These two figures, likely unaware of each other's existence, embarked on strikingly similar quests. They sought to understand human suffering and find the path to a better life. Their lives, methods, and teachings offer surprising parallels alongside distinct differences. Let's delve into the worlds of Socrates and the Buddha. We begin in Lumbini, near the Himalayan foothills, around 563 BCE. Here, Siddhartha Gautama was born into a royal Sakya clan. Tradition holds he lived a sheltered life of luxury, shielded from the world's suffering. His father hoped he would become a great king, not a spiritual leader. However, Siddhartha's innate curiosity couldn't be contained. Legend tells of the foresights during chariot rides outside the palace walls. He encountered an old man, a sick man, a corpse, and finally, a wandering ascetic monk. These sights shattered his illusions of permanent happiness and comfort. Witnessing unavoidable human suffering, aging, sickness, and death deeply disturbed the young prince. He saw the monk's serenity as a possible path beyond this suffering. At age 29, Siddhartha made a profound choice, the great renunciation. He left his palace, wife, newborn son, and royal life behind. He embarked on a quest to understand the nature of suffering and find liberation from it. He sought out renowned teachers and practiced extreme asceticism. For years, he subjected himself to harsh practices, including severe fasting. He hoped self-mortification would lead to enlightenment, but it only weakened him. Realizing that neither indulgence nor extreme denial was the way, Siddhartha discovered the middle path. This path advocated moderation between extremes. He sat beneath a Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, vowing not to rise until he attained enlightenment. After resisting temptations and distractions, he achieved his goal. Through deep meditation, Siddhartha Gautama became the Buddha, meaning the awakened one. He understood the cause of suffering and the way to its cessation. His core teachings are encapsulated in the Four Noble Truths. These form the foundation of Buddhism. First noble truth is the truth of dukkha, often translated as suffering, dissatisfaction, or stress. Life inherently involves suffering. The second noble truth identifies the origin of dukkha, craving, attachment, and aversion. Our desires and clinging lead to suffering. The third noble truth proclaims that there is a cessation of dukkha. Nirvana, liberation from suffering, is possible. The fourth noble truth outlines the path to nirvana, the Noble Eightfold Path. This consists of right understanding, thought, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and concentration. The Buddha spent the rest of his long life teaching this path, the Dharma. He gathered a community of monks and nuns, the Sangha, to practice and preserve his teachings. His emphasis was practical and experiential. He encouraged followers to their own insight and practice, not blind faith. Now, let's travel west to Athens, Greece, during roughly the same period. Here lived Socrates, born around 470 BCE. Unlike Siddhartha's royal upbringing, Socrates came from humble origins. His father was likely a stonemason, his mother a midwife. Socrates served as a hoplite soldier with distinction, but spent most of his life in the Athenian agora. He engaged fellow citizens in philosophical conversations. He wrote nothing himself. Our knowledge comes primarily from his students, Plato and Xenophon. Plato's dialogues, featuring Socrates as the main speaker, are our richest source. Socrates' mission began, according to Plato's apology, after the oracle at Delphi declared no one was wiser than him. Perplexed, Socrates set out to question those reputed to be wise. He questioned politicians, poets, and artisans, seeking definitions of concepts like justice, virtue, and piety. He consistently found their claims to knowledge were unfounded. This led to his famous claim, "I know that I know nothing." This wasn't false modesty, but an awareness of the limits of his own understanding, contrasting with others' arrogance. His method, the Socratic method or Elencius, involved asking probing questions to reveal inconsistencies in beliefs. It aimed to stimulate critical thinking and self-examination. Socrates believed the unexamined life is not worth living. Self-knowledge and ethical reflection were paramount for human flourishing. He shifted the focus of philosophy from cosmology, the nature of the universe, to ethics and human conduct. How should one? For Socrates, virtue, arete, was the highest good, equated with knowledge. He argued that wrongdoing stems from ignorance. If one truly knows what is good, one will do it. Cultivating the soul, nurturing one's moral and intellectual character, was the most important task in life. Wealth, status, and even physical well-being were secondary. Socrates often spoke of a daemonion, an inner divine voice or sign that warned him against certain actions. This suggests a personal, guiding spiritual intuition. Despite his focus on individual inquiry, Socrates was deeply engaged with his community. His questioning, however, eventually angered powerful Athenians. He was accused of impiety, not recognizing the city's gods, and corrupting the youth. At his trial in 399 BCE, he defended his philosophical mission but was found guilty. Sentenced to death, Socrates famously accepted his fate calmly. He drank hemlock, discussing the immortality of the soul with his followers until the end. Now, let's compare these two extraordinary figures. What striking parallels emerge between the Buddha and Socrates? Both were charismatic teachers who attracted devoted followers. They initiated major philosophical and spiritual movements that transformed their societies. Neither figure wrote down their teachings. Their wisdom was transmitted orally by disciples who later recorded it. Both emphasized ethical living and self-discipline as crucial. They offered paths towards inner peace and liberation from suffering or ignorance. They challenged prevailing social norms and religious orthodoxies. Both were seen as disruptive figures by some authorities. Both focused on practical application rather than mere abstract speculation. Their teachings were meant to be lived. They encouraged self-reflection and questioning assumptions. The Buddha urged testing teachings. Socrates relentlessly questioned beliefs. Both advocated a middle way of sorts. The Buddha between indulgence and asceticism. Socrates between dogmatism and nihilism, perhaps. Their personal lives exemplified their teachings. The Buddha lived as a wandering teacher. Socrates lived simply, dedicated to philosophical inquiry. However, there were also significant differences in their approaches and goals. These reflect their distinct cultural contexts. The Buddha's primary concern was overcoming suffering, dukkha, rooted in craving and achieving nirvana. Socrates focused on cultivating virtue through rational inquiry and defining concepts. The Buddha's method involved meditation, mindfulness, and insight practices. Socrates' method was dialectical conversation and logical examination. The Buddha taught concepts like rebirth, samsara, and karma central to Indian cosmology. Socrates, while perhaps believing in an afterlife, focused more on ethical living in this life. The ultimate goal in Buddhism is nirvana, a state beyond description, transcending the cycle of rebirth. For Socrates, the goal was eudaimonia achieved through virtue and knowledge. The Buddha established a monastic order, sangha, with specific rules. Socrates gathered informal groups of listeners in public spaces. Buddha's awakening was a profound, transformative mystical experience. Socrates' wisdom seemed to develop through ongoing rational investigation and dialogue regarding the divine. The Buddha was generally agnostic or silent on a creator God, focusing on liberation. Socrates spoke of gods and his daemonian, but emphasized human reason. Their views on knowledge differed too. The Buddha emphasized experiential insight beyond concepts. Socrates sought clear, rational definitions of ethical terms. The Buddha's teachings spread far beyond India, becoming a major world religion and philosophy. Socratic thought became foundational to Western philosophy, primarily through Plato and Aristotle. Despite their geographical separation, the parallels are striking. Both lived during a time of great intellectual ferment. They represent a turn towards introspection and ethics in human thought. Understanding the individual's role in achieving wisdom and well-being became central. The Buddha diagnosed suffering as arising from internal states craving ignorance. Socrates diagnosed moral error as arising from ignorance of the good. Both offered therapies for the human condition. The Buddha's therapy was the Eightfold Path. Socrates' therapy was philosophical examination. Consider their legacies. Buddhism offers practices for mindfulness and compassion embraced globally. The Socratic method remains a cornerstone of education and critical thinking. The Buddha sought release from the cycle of existence. Socrates sought excellence within human existence. One emphasized detachment from worldly concerns. The other emphasized virtuous engagement within the polis, city-state. Yet, both pointed towards an inner transformation as key. Change yourself, change your experience of the world. The Buddha taught mindfulness of breath and body. Socrates urged attention to one's soul and beliefs. Both faced opposition. The Buddha encountered resistance from established religious groups. Socrates faced execution for his inquiries. Their courage in pursuing and sharing their truths is remarkable. They prioritized wisdom over comfort, status, or even life itself. Could there have been indirect cultural exchange influencing them? While unlikely direct contact, the axial age suggests interconnectedness of human questioning. Perhaps similar societal shifts, urbanization, increased trade, questioning traditional authority, created fertile ground for such thinkers independently. Comparing them highlights universal human concerns. How do we deal with suffering? What is a good life? How can we attain wisdom? The Buddha's path involves understanding impermanence and non-self. Socrates' path involves understanding virtue and the self, soul. Both offered hope for transformation. The Buddha showed enlightenment is possible. Socrates showed wisdom is attainable through inquiry. Their lives serve as powerful archetypes, the renunciate seeker and the urban philosopher, both dedicated to awakening others. The Buddha's final words urged followers to strive on diligently. Socrates' final actions showed commitment to his principles. Exploring their lives side by side enriches our understanding of both. It reveals the diverse ways humanity has sought truth. From the Deer Park Sermon in Sarnath to the dialogues in the Athenian agora, wisdom took different forms, but shared a common root, a desire to understand and prove the human condition. The Buddha offered a detailed map, Eightfold Path. Socrates offered a method of inquiry, legacies. Both continue to inspire millions. Their questions echo today. Are you examining your life? Are you aware of the roots of your dissatisfaction? These two giants of the axial age remind us of the power of introspection. The greatest journeys often occur within. Their parallel emergence suggests a shared human capacity for profound philosophical and spiritual insight. Wisdom can blossom in diverse soils. Understanding the Buddha helps us appreciate the depth of Eastern thought. Understanding Socrates illuminates the foundations of Western philosophy. Bringing them together reveals common ground and fascinating contrasts. It expands our perspective on the quest for wisdom itself. Imagine a hypothetical dialogue between them. What questions would Socrates ask the Buddha? How would the Buddha respond to Socratic questioning? Perhaps Socrates would press for a definition of nirvana. The Buddha might respond with silence or point towards the limits of conceptual understanding. The Buddha might ask Socrates about the nature of the soul he sought to cultivate. Socrates might elaborate on its rational and moral capacities. Their encounter highlights different epistemic values, meditative insight versus dialectical reason. Both are powerful tools for discovery. We see two distinct approaches to achieving inner peace. Buddha, through detachment and cessation of craving. Socrates, through virtue and rational understanding. Both ultimately point beyond the superficial. They urge us to look deeper, question assumptions, and take responsibility for our inner lives. Their influence is immeasurable, shaping civilizations and countless individual lives. Two beacons of wisdom from the ancient world. Reflecting on their lives challenges us. How dedicated are we to our own growth and understanding? The quest begun by Socrates and the Buddha continues in each of us. The search for meaning, virtue, and liberation from suffering. We've traced the remarkable parallel paths of Siddhartha Gautama and Socrates, two towering figures who forever changed how humanity sees itself. From ancient India to ancient Greece, their journeys reveal universal aspects of the human search for wisdom. Their legacies endure. What are your reflections on these two great teachers? Do you see more similarities or differences? Thank you for joining this comparative exploration. We hope it sparked new insights and questions. If you found this discussion valuable, please show your support. Your interaction fuels our channel's mission. Consider how their teachings might apply to your own life. The call to examine our existence remains profoundly relevant. Which figure's approach resonates more with you personally? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. We explored the lives, methods, and core teachings of the Buddha and Socrates. We highlighted their surprising parallels and distinct contributions. Two ancient sages, separated by thousands of miles, independently tackled life's biggest questions. Their insights continue to guide and inspire. But did you enjoy this comparison between Eastern and Western thought? What other philosophical pairings would you like to see? Share your ideas with us. We appreciate your input as we plan future content. Don't forget to like this video if it made you think and subscribe for more explorations of philosophy, history, and wisdom traditions. Share this video with others who might find it interesting.